Good morning, my name is Tara, and thank you for stopping by and seeing my channel, The Presence. Winnie the Pooh used to say, the past is a history, tomorrow is a mystery, today's a gift, that's why they call it the present. It's about being self-aware. It's about understanding that we have had past experiences that made us who we are today. I have a phrase that I use all the time when I'm explaining to people who I am and when I'm explaining to people where I've been. And that expression that I tell people is that I have no regrets. And the reason I have no regrets is because all that I have been through, all that I have done, all the mistakes and choices that I have made me who I am today. And I'm really proud of the person that I have become today. I may not have been proud of the person that I was 25 years ago, 30 years ago, but I am very proud of who I have become and the woman that I present to the world today. I am self-aware of what I have to offer the world today. It's breaking free of false identity. People give us an identity when we're growing up as to who we are, and it makes us believe that that identity that they've put onto us is attached to us forever. It's not. It's not who we are, it's who they perceive us to be. I think I've mentioned that in a video before. It is breaking free of those beliefs. It is breaking free of understanding that the attachments that somebody else gave to you isn't who you are. If somebody gave you an attachment from childhood, you were labeled a bad child. You grew up thinking that you were a bad child. You grew up thinking that you acted in bad ways. But now you're an adult. You still carry around that attachment of being a bad child, and you apply it to the principles of life today, and then you are a bad element in society, so to speak. You're not practicing non-judgment of situations, of yourself, of other people. When things are prejudged, when you walk into a situation with a preconceived idea of how that conversation is supposed to be, of how that outcome is supposed to be, or how that person is supposed to engage with you, you set yourself up for failure. Because having the judgments of what you're gonna put out there is placing expectations. And expectations should only be placed on ourselves, only placed on what we can do in this lifetime to make ourselves better. We can't place expectations on other people. If we place expectations on other people, every single time we're gonna be disappointed, because people are not meant to live up to our expectations of them. They are meant to live up to their own expectations of their self. And the same is true with you, living up to the expectation of yourself and not others. It's about learning to practice love and acceptance. Love and acceptance is the freedom that is going to lead to non-judgment. Learning to understand that bad things happen to good people. We've heard that for years and years and years. That bad things happen for good reasons is also something that you want to understand. That perhaps there was a loss of a job. Perhaps somebody went down in their income. Perhaps somebody thought that because of that, it was going to be detrimental to their family and that they were going to lose everything. What if that loss of a job opened up new possibilities for this person so that they could start doing the things that they love, so that they could start putting their time, energy, and passion into making money and having it be successful and having it be productive enough to pay the bills, to having it be productive enough to raise the family, having it be productive enough to sustain their life, even though they thought that the worst thing that ever happened was that they had lost their job. But look at the benefits from the other side. Now, in that moment, we're not going to see it like that. But in that moment, we want to release our attachments to thoughts and emotions. It's about mindful mastery. It's about not putting our thoughts or attachments onto the situations or the emotional outcomes that are going to be happening. It's about recognizing and accepting. We always come back to that word, accepting, don't we? Non-attachment to thoughts and emotional outcomes. How do we get through that? Well, we recognize that we are having the attachment. We recognize that the thoughts and the emotions that we're having are coming with what we want the outcome to be. It's coming with an attached outcome. And when we go through with something looking for an attached outcome, again, we set ourselves up for dismay. We set ourselves up for feeling bad. We set ourselves up for depression, for failure, for non-success. We want to go ahead and release the attachments to the outcome, to the past identities, to the past traumas, to the past self. Doesn't necessarily have to be through the eyes of yourself. It could be through the eyes of others. You are attached to nothing, no one, in any circumstance, in any given time, because time is truly non-existent. The effects of time are only here on the earthly realm for you and I to judge engagement by. It's not the reality. It's not the universal consciousness. It is non-existent, but it gauges for us so that we can understand in humanly fashion, because our minds are not expanded enough to understand that this is a timeless place and universe. We hold attachments, and that is said to bring suffering. It is said to bring depression. It is said to bring disassociation. It is said to bring dis-ease, discomfort. And the way that we go about not holding on to these attachments, which we just discussed a few moments ago, is also to live with non-resistance. Non-resistance is key. Now, if you talk to my family, they will tell you that I've been using this terminology of living in the non-resistance for at least 10 years minimum. My daughter knows that I'll call her the resistance. But other than that, I tell my family to live in non-resistance. What does that mean? What does it mean to live in non-resistance? It means to accept the circumstances that are coming to you, knowing that you can't do anything to change them. There is nothing that can be done except to accept the circumstances as they're being given to you. You can't change the situation, but you can change how you're viewing it, how you're looking at it, what is being perceived by you. Are you looking at it through a negative set of glasses or a positive set of glasses? Are you looking at it through the woe to me factor, or are you looking at it through the how does this help me rise above factor? Non-attachment is freedom. When we release of attachment to the outcome, you may not have what you had anticipated or what you thought you wanted, but you're going to get what the universe is delivering to you in your divine time. You're going to get what the universe presents to you. That doesn't mean that we stop working for our goals. It doesn't mean that we get depressed and not try to make it to a more successful moment. It just simply means that the divine timing is not now. It's not a no answer. It's just a not now answer. You keep working and working and working to better yourself, to better your family, to better your situation. You don't give up. We never give up. This is not the point of being on this earth, is to give up. When we witness the emotion and do not judge the emotion, we are allowing ourselves detachment from the emotion. So what does that mean, to witness the emotion and not judge the emotion? It means that when you are feeling a specific way, we have to just recognize it, accept it, and then release it from our self-identity. Not harbor it within us, not associate guilt with that feeling and emotion, not associating any attachments to that feeling or emotion. Just realizing that's the emotion for the moment, and it too shall pass. This too shall pass is a phrase that has been used for millions of years. It dates back into the Bible. My grandmother said it to me all the time. Nothing is ever permanent. Situations are ever changing. Life is like the tide. There's an ebb and flow. It comes, it goes. It's like a roller coaster. Sometimes you're riding the highs and sometimes you're dipping down in the lows. It's ever changing, but that is the beauty of life. How much would it stink if every day was exactly the same and you were caught up in like the movie Groundhog Day, where every day you woke up, every day the same conversations happened, every day the same circumstances happened, and every day a small change in the outcome happened? How boring would your life be? How miserable would you be? You have to accept the good as well as the bad, because if you don't understand that you've had the bad, you can never appreciate the good that's coming to you. It's about being reactive or proactive when we cannot control what is happening to us. It is about being resistant to what is coming at us or being accepting of what is coming at us, fielding the ball and playing another play. It's not about being depressed for ourselves. It's not about staying in that icky vibed feeling. It's about muddling through it, getting to the other side, recognizing that we had the experience, growing from it, and moving on, learning our lesson and letting it go, releasing it, and never holding on to the attachment. Recognize that we have attached outcomes that we are letting go of. It is when we go through that we can actually go through transformation. Transformation is 90% of self-identity. It is 90% of self-thought. It is 90% of self-taught. And it is about living in non-existence. It is about living in detachment and non-attachment to outcomes, circumstances, people, relationships. This is how we start to bring our vibe up. This is how we start to recognize that when we are in a low energy field and that we want to better ourselves and we want to feel better about the circumstances, situations, and start ushering in a new energy, a clear vibed energy, a higher elevation. thevibrationelevation.com. When we realize that we are sitting in a lower marinating energy and we want to rise up, these are simple steps to help us to get out of the bottom, to help us to realize that life is going to continue. Life is a progress. Life is a continual process. It does not stop until the day we take our last breath, to the moment we take our last breath, to the second we take our last breath. This is an evolution and journey of the soul that has begun on the other side. We take our lessons here on earth and then we leave and we evaluate and we grade ourselves on how we've done here. So we want to make sure that when we are living in the present, when we are accepting of the situations, when we are releasing attachments to the outcome, that we are working in a way to elevate our soul, to make ourselves feel more connected to unconsciousness, to make ourselves feel more connected to our brothers and sisters, to make ourselves feel more alive. The beauty of this life is to feel alive and expressionative and passionate, and not to feel harmed and low and hurt, and to release ourselves of those connotations and associations that other people gave to us while we were growing our own self-identity. But like I said, the beauty is that you can change your own self-identity and disassociate those connections and attachments at any given time. Somebody grew up saying that they were a drug addict and their families called them a drug addict, and all they did was do drugs, do drugs, do drugs. The next thing you know, they're a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They have 10 years of sobriety underneath their nose, and their family's still not talking to them. Why? Because their family associates them with the drug addict. But you know what that person did? They disassociated the identity of the active drug addict in their life. They worked a spiritual process to get to the other side, realizing that they could release those attachments and that they did not have to have resistance. They could accept their failures, they could accept it with non-judgment, and then they can figure out a way to better themselves. They don't sit there and marinate in what they have done tragically, but they say, I have no regrets, because if I did not go through my disease of drug addiction, then I would not be the CEO of this company. I may have a mediocre job working as a middle manager somewhere. Every aspect of life has a lesson, value, and reward. And it's looking to find those lessons, values, and rewards that is going to help enlighten us, that is going to help us along our journey. We get so caught up into the depressed part of it, so caught up into the low energy. When people are feeling negative, they spread it like a disease. But when people are feeling positive, they get looked at like they're crazy. This is not the world that we are meant to live in. We are meant to live in that world where everybody gets looked at like they're crazy, because they're living in happiness. They're living in a vibrant, magnificent, loving world where acceptance is key. I do hope that this information has brought you a clarity today and understanding of living in the presence, being self-aware, having love and acceptance of mindful mastery of thoughts and emotions, releasing attachments to past traumas, not identifying with the outcome, and beginning that transformation of self. My name is Tara, and I am here to raise the vibration of awareness within me, you, and this earth. If you liked what you have here, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel now. Don't forget to smash on that bell for new notifications when I release new content. Thanks for joining me this morning.